The moment I opened this platform, I felt like I had stumbled into a creative playground that wasn't even pretending to hide its power. It almost felt like the tool was saying, "Go ahead, try something, I'm ready." So today, I want you to experience this with me exactly the way I did. No distance, no narrator tone, just you and me sitting here playing with a tool that somehow gives you 200 4K images for free and 2 million video tokens to burn through like it's nothing. When I first saw those numbers, I actually paused for a second because I thought there's no way that's real. But it is. And we're going to push every corner of it together. Once you log in, the funny thing is how simple everything looks. It's just a clean little chat interface, almost too innocent for what it can actually do. You don't even have to give it your phone number if the page asks. You can just jump right back to the main screen and you're inside anyway, ready to create. And when you finally click into the Seedream 4.0 section, it feels like the beginning of one of those moments where you know you're not getting up from the chair anytime soon. You start typing a prompt without thinking too much, just throwing in a description to see what happens. And then you switch the resolution from 2K to 4K. Switch the aspect ratio to something like 16.9 because it feels cinematic. And hit generate like you're firing a little creative rocket into space. The system thinks for a moment. And then the image pops up. At first, it just sits there quietly, but the second you open the full preview, you get hit with this "wait, what?" reaction. The level of detail is ridiculous. It doesn't just draw a face, it paints reflections in the eyes, creates soft transitions in the shadows, adds texture to the clothing that genuinely looks tangible. You'll notice highlights around the edges of the hair, tiny details in the background that you didn't even type into your prompt. And this is still just you casually testing things. But it gets better. Because then you decide to try something a little weird, like putting text onto an object inside the image. Maybe it's a cloth with a word printed on it. Maybe it's a label or a banner. You type the prompt in, hit generate again, and suddenly the text appears like it was actually sewn into the material. It curves with the fabric, bends at the folds, picks up the right shadows. Nothing about it looks pasted on. When you zoom into the full 4K resolution, you can actually see the texture under the letters. It's the kind of detail that makes you forget for a second that the entire thing came from a sentence you typed, and then comes the part where you start uploading your own images. That's where this thing almost becomes addicting. You upload 2 photos, maybe a portrait and another character, and you tell the model to combine them. It doesn't complain. It doesn't hesitate. It just starts building something new. When the results appear, the lighting magically matches. The angles look like they were planned. Backgrounds merge like they were always supposed to be together. Even when you intentionally pick 2 completely mismatched photos, the output still somehow looks like a single shot from the same camera. Then you try it with 3 images, thinking you'll finally break the system, but instead it calmly creates a version that blends everything into a single believable scene. At that point, you realize the tool is doing way more under the hood than you'll ever need to think about. Editing becomes just as entertaining. You try changing hair color on a portrait just to see how far you can push it. You upload the image, write something like "make her blonde," and wait. When the result appears, the hair color changes, but the lighting stays the same. The facial structure stays consistent. The shadows still fall exactly where they should. It feels less like you're altering an image and more like you're looking at an alternate reality version of the same person. And just when you think that's the entire show, you jump over to the video generator. Seedance is where everything suddenly moves. The text-to-video feature is unbelievably fun because it feels like you're pitching a scene to someone who immediately films it for you. You type your description, choose the duration, maybe 5 seconds, maybe 12. Switch the quality to 1080p, turn off the watermark, and let it go. Watching the video generate feels like waiting for a Polaroid to develop, but faster. When the clip appears, the shadows move the way you expect them to. The reflections shift with motion. Colors blend smoothly across frames like everything was planned out in advance. It doesn't feel chaotic or random. It feels intentional. But image to video might be my favorite part. You take a still picture, just a frozen moment, and the system wakes it up. You tell a character to jump, or walk, or move forward, and suddenly the motion appears like it was always hidden inside the image. The background stays still and stable, the character animates, and the whole thing feels strangely natural. You get multiple versions too, each giving you a slightly different interpretation. It's like watching the still image audition for a role. If you happen to live somewhere the platform doesn't load right away, you flip on a simple browser VPN, refresh the page, and the whole thing opens like it was waiting for you the entire time. From there, every tool responds immediately. It never slows you down or forces you through complicated steps. The whole system feels designed to let you move fast. By the time you finish exploring everything, Seedream, Seedance, merging images, editing details, animating still photos, you get this strange feeling that you've just used a full creative studio hidden inside a chat window. All the things that usually require separate software, separate workflows, layers, masks, timelines, all get replaced by one simple thing: typing what you imagine. And somehow, as soon as you type it, the system does the rest. High-resolution images, clean edits, smooth videos, animations from still photos. It gives you all of that without slowing the creative flow for even a second. And the best part is how natural the whole process feels. You're not fighting the tool, you're not learning a complicated interface. You're just describing things the same way you would describe a scene to a friend, and watching the visual version of that conversation come to life right in front of you. It's almost unsettling how quickly you start trusting it. You type something, it delivers. You try something harder, it still delivers. Before long, your imagination becomes the only limit left. That's why using this platform doesn't feel like testing software. It feels like watching creativity happen in real time, the way you always wished it could. And when a single text box becomes a complete visual production pipeline, you realize you're not just using a tool, you're stepping into a new way of creating.